Good afternoon, all. A warm welcome, you all, to the Toppers Talk Series 13 on the Track Towards Excellence Journey of an IRTS Officer with Mr. S. Rishi Raghav IRTS. Uh, Ma'am, now I request Dr. Devasundari, Principal of KCG College of Technology, to welcome the gathering. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, Ramya. Good afternoon to all who have joined today on this Sunday afternoon. It's a pleasure to welcome you all for this 13th session of Toppers Talk by Mr. Rishi Raghav IRTS, who is an AOM Chennai Division Southern Railways. Actually, this day is very special for us because we started last year this time and we have completed one full set. 12 series have been completed. We had one every month. We hosted many IAS officers, IAS, IPS, IFS, IRS, almost all the domains we have hosted. And this IRTS is something we couldn't make it in the last series. So we thought we'll start with an IRTS officer. And today we are very fortunate that Mr. Rishi Raghav has accepted our invite and he has joined us on this Sunday. So we are starting the second set now with series 13. In between to all the participants, we also have started our foundation course with Dr. Radhakrishnan inaugurating that. That is also happening for our students right now. And we are also in the process of scaling that foundation course up to external participants also, external members also. So with that note, I once again welcome all the students and all the participants who are aspiring to become a civil service officer. All the very best and looking forward to hear from him. Thank you, Ramya.
Thank you, ma'am. I feel immense happy to introduce our guest today, Mr. S. Rishi Raghav, IRTS officer, who is currently posted as Assistant Operation Manager, Chennai Division of Southern Railways. His father, Mr. M. Shankar, is a businessman, and his mother, Mrs. S. Madhupriya, is also a businesswoman who runs prestigious Smart Kitchen. His younger brother is a director for Brevi Foods and Beverages Company. He did his engineering in BTech Civil Engineering from VIT Vellore during 2010 to 14 and Masters in City and Regional Planning, Georgia Institute of Technology, Atlanta, Georgia, USA during 2014 to 16. He worked as transportation planner at Jacobs Engineering Group in Atlanta, USA, and interned at UN Habitat at New Delhi. After returning from US, Sir started to prepare for his civil services examination during 2018 and joined the prestigious service during 2019. His hobbies are playing squash and tennis, also traveling. We welcome you once again, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Ramya. And thank you, Principal Ma'am, for inviting me and to give us a lecture on how to fast track to success. So that was an introduction, very interesting tagline which you made for the event. So happy to be here. So yeah, you can start the event.
Thank you, sir. So first we'll have an interactive session. So myself and Ramya, our student, who's also a civil service aspirant, is there for the interactive session now. I'll start, sir. So you have worked as a transportation planner in a prestigious company at USA. What made you to change your career path and become an IRTS officer?
So basically, I went to US to do my master's in urban planning, and I specialized in transportation planning, and I worked as a transportation planner there. So while working over there, I was involved in projects with the city of Atlanta. So we used to work on projects on developing the transportation plan for an entire county. County is like a district. So I was interacting a lot with the government over there and with the city of Atlanta. So that got me interested in working in the public side, like in the government side. So then I thought, why not do the same in India? Then I thought of exploring what are the options available. Then I thought like something like civil services is an option. And uh, that is when I looked at uh, what is civil services, what is IAS, what is IPS, and what are the different services in the domain. And then I came back to India, and then I started preparing for civil services. So that was the journey, and that was the reason that I thought of coming back to India and doing civil services. Like I wanted to see how how we can be more impactful while being in the government side, and I think take more important decisions and which impact a larger number of people. So that was the main reason.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Ramya, and I'm from the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science, and I'm also a civil services aspirant. So, ever since I started this journey, I've had many expectations thrown on me, and the support system has become hands down mandatory. So, how did your family act as a support system during your preparation, and how did you manage to handle expectations?
Thank you, Ramya. So uh, family is everything. Like it's the most important support system that one can ever have to do anything in life. And fortunately, I am blessed with a very encouraging and motivating family who are more interested in me clearing civil services than myself. So I have been very blessed with that. So when I told them like I wanted to come back to India and pursue civil services, it was quite challenging actually to what do you call, to convince them, because I have to leave a career, everything behind there. I was in a successful job there and come back to India and pursue this dream. So I think they were very encouraging. They gave me all the support possible. And because I was able to convince them through my interest and the passion that drove me towards this field, so I was able to convince. And ever since then it was they were always very very supportive. I think staying 2 years at home and preparing for the exam, you understand the importance of like the support which the father, like my father and mother, gave every single day. And I think that is very important. And again, I've been very fortunate. And uh, and I think that's the way forward as well. Like they have always been supportive so far, and I'm pretty sure they will be like that.
That's wonderful to hear, sir. And UPSC being a very competitive exam, it is natural for us aspirants to take too much stress, right? So, how did you handle stressful periods, sir?
So actually, certain amount of stress is always good, because stress is necessary for us to work towards what we want to achieve. And there's a certain level of stress which is actually positive and which is encouraging, because there is some sort of expectation on us, or expectation from ourselves, that we want to achieve something. So that stress is always necessary, and we should learn to manage that stress. But anything beyond that, where you are overpowered by yourself, your thoughts, or your expectations, or the expectations from others on you, that's when we have to start finding ways to overcome that stress. So I wouldn't say every day I was stressed or anything. I Since I cleared it in the second time, like I came back to India within 1.5 years, I had cleared the exam. But it was a struggle, because the entire thing was completely new, and I didn't go to any coaching center or anything like that. I had to prepare by myself. So there was a certain amount of stress, in the sense like I had to collect the materials. I didn't know where to source them from. I didn't know, because I had to prepare geography was my optional. I had to start that right from the scratch. So, and considering all those factors, it was a bit challenging. But at the same time, uh, uh, I used to take time out. Like I used to go for movies. I used to play sports whenever it's possible. I used to go. I like to drive, so I used to go on long drives. So it's important to take the time off as well. But stress is necessary to a certain level, so that it's just about how we manage it. And yeah, when at times it goes beyond control, and we have to learn to manage it. That is the key part to it.
Thank you, sir. So you have good experience as bureaucrat ever since you joined become a part of administration. Were there any incident where you saved someone life or exhibit act of humanity? Can you please share with us?
Sure, Ramya. So, see, as a bureaucrat, I have been so far I've been in the railways, and so basically I manage the freight operations in Chennai Division. So here, I and almost like 3,000 staff report to me. I'm the reporting officer for 3,000 staff. So in terms of humanitarian acts, I would say it's about like how we manage our daily expectations from our staff, because the kind of operations and the kind of stress they deal with every day to manage the train operations, it's actually unimaginable, and I never thought it was the case before I joined railways. Like our staff go through so much tension and stress. So it is about managing their workload. It's about dealing with them with more humanely, and treating them in a more humane manner, because that is very important, because at the end of the day the staff run the railways, and it's important to treat them nicely, treat them with whatever comfort is required for them, provide them leave whenever they require. So I think that will create an atmosphere of togetherness, and that will create an atmosphere of trust among everyone. So I think it's about building that, and so far I have been able to do that, but I'm pretty sure as I climb up I'll be facing more challenges. So let's see how things go on.
As much as it's important to thoroughly learn each and every concept in the syllabus and make a good revision schedule, I think it's also important to stay consistent and concentrated. So, since the UPSC syllabus is a sea of different concepts, how do you think we can effectively learn each topic and devise a good revision schedule?
Uh, See, as I told you, when I first started this preparation, even I was in the same dilemma. Like I didn't know, like because there's so many topics, so many resources which we have to look at. We tend to get lost, and that is, I think, that's a common phenomena which is observed across like every single aspirant. So I think the solution is right at the beginning. It's important to identify what resources you are going to opt for, and stick to them confidently that they will help you, and you got to trust whatever resources you have picked. And once you have a thorough understanding of whatever resources you have picked, be it whatever the subject, like for example, I stuck to one resource in each. For example, in geography, one resource, in political science, one resource. So that helped in understanding the subject first, because at the beginning, it's important to understand. Particularly, we are coming from various backgrounds, and we have a very different understanding of what is happening. So it's important to have that in-depth knowledge about each field at the beginning, and then we can diversify, looking at what we have left out from those kind of resources. So that was the pattern I followed. And another thing regarding newspaper, which is personally, according to me, is the most important source of knowledge, because that is where you tend to learn at the beginning, because every single term in the newspaper actually asks us to search in Google and find out what exactly does it mean. So right at the beginning, we may not even know what is GDP or what is national income, how is it calculated. So I think the trigger point should be the newspaper, irrespective of what stage of preparation one is in. It is important to start with the newspaper and go in detail and try to grasp what is happening, and then identify what one point of resource for each particular subject, and then delve deeper into it. I think that is how you go about it. And later, once you have an understanding, we can diversify the resources, and one can move forward. But the critical point is to understand what one is learning.
Thank you. So practicing answer writing is very important for an exam like UPSC. So what do you suggest for good answer writing? And you cleared it in second attempt. So can you
Right.
please? Yeah.
So answer writing is very critical, especially in the mains, for the mains examination. And I used to write every day, like especially after prelims to mains. There's about 3.5 to 4 months. So I used to just a second. So there used to be everyday practice. So I used to spend 3 hours every day, maybe take some random questions from the internet or on some random topics which I'm not very confident at, especially I was not very good at history. And I used to spend time writing about it, how you make very concise answers and how you build the structure of the answer. So initially I used to spend time on it, and over a period of time, as one practices, we get an idea. Initially, for example, for a paper, when I used to take almost 4.5 hours to complete one paper. But as time went on, when I'm able to collect my thoughts and when I was able to bring all my thoughts together, I think it was much easier. And I used to get the paper in 3 hours. I used to complete. So it's about able to doing that constant practice that is very critical. And every day, like at least give an hour even before the prelims, just write some random answers, take some any random questions, just put down your thoughts and see how you're able to collect your thoughts. That is the first part of the process. Unless one is able to collect the thoughts and be able to put on the paper, only then the next stage would be to write it in a very structured and a very neat and very concise manner. Irrespective of what knowledge one has, it's about collecting the thoughts and putting on that paper. Irrespective of the stage of process at which one is there at the moment, just write at the beginning. What is a river? Might be river, maybe a very simple definition of what is a river. That is fine. At a very, maybe after 2 3 months of preparing in geography, you will be able to write what is a river uh, uh, in a more technical manner. So it is about putting the thoughts down, irrespective of what stage you're in. But you got to do it. So that is very critical.
Thank you, sir. Sir, according to your own experience, what do you feel that aspirants are doing mistake, like in the prelim stage or in the main stage or during personality test also, in your experience?
See, I'm not very like, I don't have an idea like what exactly others mistake, what kind of mistakes others do. But what I can say is what we should not do, including me, what I should not have done. I think we should have definitely practiced more. Even in the prelim stage, I used to practice like probably hundreds of question papers. Just I spent less time on studying these materials, and I used to do more of practice tests and identify which topics I'm weak at and then work on those topics. I think we got to be confidently giving those tests, irrespective. Even if we get 5 out of 200, it doesn't matter in prelims. It's about giving that and identifying what you lack, identifying what topic you have to work on. And I used to do a lot of that, and I think many people really find it difficult to give mock tests, or and they feel scared about the results. I don't think that matters at all. Results don't matter, but eventually the sum of all these tests will help in the final day. So that is the trick in this. So irrespective of the marks which we get in all these tests, it's about doing those tests and working on what one is lacking in. The same applies to mains also. Keep practicing, keep writing. And many of them feel scared to write. Many of them feel really scared to put down the pen on the paper. I think that is very, very important. So that is the only way.
Yeah, sir, because most of the aspirants, even I came to met few aspirants who cleared prelims, but they are thinking, okay, next attempt we can clear the mains because they are so scared, as you said, they are very scared to take and write the answer, even though they cleared for the prelims and they appearing for the mains. And many aspirants, they feel that it really takes civil service, it really takes 4 to 5 attempts. And few of them who are staying in Delhi also sitting and preparing there, they're also having this mentality, and they are thinking 4 attempts or 5 attempts, and many of them are giving 4 to 5 attempts also. So what is your advice for them to clear in first attempt or second attempt?
See, at the end of the day, if you prepare well, if you're confident about yourself, uh, irrespective of the attempt, you will clear it someday. But you got to follow the process. If you have not followed the process, and if you give it up at any stage of the process, irrespective of which attempt it is, there is an equal chance of failure. So it is about following that process, following, being passionate. Like, you have to be interested in doing this, and considering the fluctuation in the intake every year, uh, you got to believe that you can clear this. So that is very, very important. And yes, at some point of time, even despite doing the best of your efforts, giving the best of everything, there's an equal chance of not clearing it as well, considering that is how the reality is. So one should not lose hope, because the process actually makes us learn a lot of things, makes us believe and trust in ourselves. So that will help outside of UPSC, outside of civil services as well. But most importantly, one should follow the process and keep practicing. That is very, very important. If it's not for UPSC, if it's not for civil services, it will definitely help in somewhere else.
Now to the most nerve-wracking part of the entire exam, the personality assessment. Even the ones that have done so well in theory probably might stagger in the personality assessment due to social anxiety and stuff like that. So, how did you prepare for your personality test, and what were some challenges that you faced?
My most favorite part of this examination was the personality test, because that was the place where I can show myself. I need not hide behind a paper, or I need not hide behind a curtain and say, see my paper, that is what I am. Personality test is where you have to show your personality, who you are and what you are. So that was a stage I was looking forward to, and fortunately I got it in my second chance. And it was good, like, in the sense the preparation was mostly focused on my uh, in the sense my whatever I had done till then. So my college and my experience in the US, and all those things. So I was very confident about it, because I was I was able to put what my character, I was able to put that forward at that stage. So uh, I think it's about being very confident, like, about what you are and what you can bring to that platform and what you can do in the civil service, and say that very confidently. See, at the end of the day, you're trying to get a job that is going to impact a lot of decisions and a lot of policies in the country. So you got to be confident in the character, and you have to display that. And unless one's irrespective of the amount of knowledge one has, you got to show that confidence, and you got to show it in a very positive manner. So you shouldn't be like overconfident that I can do anything and everything once I get into the job. It has to be in a very moderate way, in the sense, like, you've got to be very practical, looking at what is a practical scenario, and you've got to display that confidence that you can deal with it. So it is about bringing the knowledge what you have and displaying it in a very confident way. I think mm, I used to, frankly, I didn't practice much for the personality test. I just went for a couple of mock interviews, but that was just to bring down the, just to bring it like an experience. But uh, I feel it was just trusting oneself in the process. I think that is the only way.
Very well said.
So, being a successful officer, what do you think are the traits an aspirant must possess to secure a very good rank and stand out of the crowd?
Uh, See, for example, to stand out of the crowd. See, actually, I don't believe in standing out of the crowd. You have to just ensure that you do live up to your own expectation, and that expectation need not be standing out of the crowd. It just needs to be about achieving what you are here for. You're just going to clear an examination. You're just going to get a job. It's as simple as that. And making it too glorified and making it like you are getting something really extraordinary, that's not the case. At the same time, it is, you are getting into a job where you are going to be very, very impactful, where we are going to do a lot of good things. So it is about achieving that, and that is where we have to stand out rather than standing out in the examination. So in the examination, it's as simple: do what needs to be to clear the examination. For that, follow the process, and once you follow the process and you trust yourself and you have a support system who believes in you, extract that positivity, put it on yourself, and display it during the examination. I know all these are great words to say, but one can do it and one must do it. And yes, out of 1,000 there'll be few, despite following all this, some will fail. But if one has that characteristic and one has that nature, irrespective of whether it is civil services or something else, they will definitely stand out in the future. It is about building that character in oneself, and it doesn't matter whether it's this exam or whether it's something else. Build that positive and confident nature, one can definitely stand out in their life. That is more important.
So, what is your final word of advice for our aspirants who are preparing for the forthcoming UPSC exam?
See, I trusted myself. I trusted myself a lot during this process because I had to give up a lot of things and uh, get into this process. I knew what was the when I did a cost benefit analysis, I didn't know how to justify it, but I trusted myself. And everybody has their own challenges, everybody has their own issues, uh, but they believe in themselves, they trust in themselves, and they get into this process. And that trust should not get lost no matter what. That positive mindset should not get lost. One day or the other, one will definitely clear. One day or the other, one will get through this examination. uh, and I always thought the biggest competition in this examination was myself. Like for me, it was myself, because if I have to stand up to my own expectations, I have to beat lethargy, I have to beat laziness, I have to beat non-performance. I have to do it better. So for that, I have to work harder. And so for everybody, I feel their biggest competition will be themselves. If they work on their expectations and if they are able to bring out the best of themselves, and if they are passionate about this job and this career, I'm pretty sure they will be able to do it. But that is what they have to work on.
Thank you, sir.
Um, so we came to the end of the program. Like now we can start taking the participants' queries. Ramya, can you please take the queries?
Yes, ma'am. The audience can now post your questions on the chat window, and we'll be asking Sir all of those questions. Now, there's a question from one among the audience. They've not mentioned their name. They've asked, Sir, did you enter IRTS through engineering service?
No, IRTS is not through engineering service. It's through civil services, and it's one of the civil services. And right now, all the railway services have been merged into IRMS, and I think through civil services examination, IRMS recruitment also happens.
Sir, and I also have a question for you. You said that reading a newspaper personally to you is very important, right? To know about current affairs and stuff like that. So, how do we read the read the newspaper itself? Because there are so many columns, small columns, the headlines. So sometimes I've seen questions come from small columns, especially when you pick up the Indian Express or something like that. So, how do you suggest what is the right way to read the newspaper?
See, I told you reading newspaper was very important, but at the same time, I never spent more than an hour on a newspaper. So it was about identifying what topics in the newspaper you have to read. I think I used to directly skip few pages at the end because they are no way related to us. But at the same time, these days I think prelims delves into different topics which they never got into before, like sports or anything. But general awareness is necessary. That does not mean you read every sports news in the sports column. And at the same time, you need not have an idea of all the political happening which is happening. It's about identifying what news you have to understand. For example, if you take a particular topic, for example, let's say money laundering or something, the same topic keeps repeating itself over a period of 10 days or 15 days in this, maybe in the editor's view, or maybe in the front page, or maybe in the business page or somewhere. So those kind of topics definitely tend we need to give more importance because they are being constantly being discussed upon. But at the same time, there are topics which are like, for example, there may be a small column which says rice exports from India have grown 10% year on year compared to the last year. So this, you just read the headline. That is more than sufficient. This you might use in your uh, mains like GS3 to put it somewhere in your economics paper, or it might be helpful in your prelims. Like they might ask a question: is India a rice exporter or importer, or which of the following countries are rice exporter? So it will click in our mind like, yeah, I read in the headlines that rice export happens from India. So it's about grasping the idea. You're not supposed to understand every single line and by heart it and try to reproduce it. It's about understanding the idea, capturing that idea for these simple topics, and those topics which require in-depth analysis. Newspaper can be a support. Again, we can use internet or any other resource and go into detail. But it's about identifying what you use where.
Um,
Yes.
so, so I have one question. So your option was geography. It was because you were a civil engineer, you opted geography, or what is your advice for the aspirants, or anyone from different background can also opt for geography option?
Mm. So my option was geography because I did my master's in urban planning and transportation planning. So I think in one part of geography, it's about human geography, and it deals with a lot related to cities and settlements and a lot of things. So I think that was closest to my area of knowledge and expertise. Of course, I had to completely understand physical geography, that part of it. But I think overall, one must be interested in what topic or what optional they chose. I was personally interested in geography, of course. Like even in school or during, I used to do a lot of maps, and I used to understand. Like even till date, I like planning tours and everything, identifying which route to take and how, what all different scenery, or what all different locations we want to see, explore the physiographic areas, and that is what I like to do. So even today, I think I just chose a subject which I'm interested in. Sometimes we are interested in certain subjects which we definitely cannot study because their syllabus is so huge. Geography is definitely one among them. But as much as interest is there, we got to be practical also. If it does not give us marks irrespective of how much we study, don't choose it. It's as simple as that.
So I also have another question for you. You told that you all you did was self-study, right? And you had to be choosy about the resources that you chose from the internet. They had to be trustworthy resources and resources that would really guarantee that you get good marks in the exam. So, could you suggest any resources for us?
See, frankly, I do not remember what books I referred to for each subject. For example, I think political science, there's one common book, I don't remember the name, I'm sorry about it.
Lakshmikant.
Yeah, Lakshmikant. So I think I just stuck to it. I didn't look at any other resource for political science. Once I was completely aware of Lakshmikant, then that is when I think I didn't actually, even after Lakshmikant, I never studied any other topic, any other book. So I think I felt Lakshmikant was more than sufficient along with newspaper and your NCRT. I think this combination is perfect. Out of this, any question comes, it's fine. If you can manage it with this, if it comes out of this, it's equally difficult for others as well. It doesn't matter. So don't waste too much time trying to understand every single book in the universe. It's about applying whatever knowledge you have in an efficient and nice manner.
So I guess that's it from the audience, ma'am. I think we can close with the audience.
Okay. Okay, Ramya, thank you for taking the participant question too.
Thank you.
So we came to the end of the session. I once again thank our guest speaker, Mr. Rishi, IRTS officer, who accepted our invite in spite of his very busy schedule. And I thank our beloved principal, ma'am, Dr. Devasundari, who always motivate us to conduct such programs. I thank our management, director, ma'am, for conducting such events. And I thank all the participants, internal participants, and also external participants from different universities. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Mr. Rishi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Principal Ma'am. Thank you, Ramya.
Thank you.